What's going on, everybody? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson back at it again with another live stream. I'm so glad that you guys could be here. Thank you for being here today. And today we are going to do a different sort of video. Last week we had the InvestDoc on. We talked a little bit about how you could purchase real estate on any budget. But for the men, we have a particular topic that he's bringing. Is marriage the best financial decision that you can make? I'm here with Dr. Kenyon Meadows, MD, who will introduce himself. Go ahead, brother. Let them know who you are.
All right. So thanks for having me back on, O'Shea. Hello, Manosphere. I see the chat room is up in a blaze with a lot of opinions on this topic, as I anticipated. I'm Kenyon Meadows, practicing physician and investment enthusiast, I guess you'd say, with a new channel, InvestDoc. Some of you all were on the stream the other week where we talked about some ways that you can invest in real estate. So that's the primary focus of my channel. But when I saw, I think it was Gabe that was on with O'Shea last week talking about marriage and everything, and it got me thinking, what's the intersection when it comes to finances and marriage, and not just approaching it from a what do I think standpoint, but what does the data say about marriage and finances? So that's the angle that we're going to come at this with primarily, although it's tough to talk about such a broad and multi-layered subject such as marriage without touching on other aspects of it as well. So we're going to get into all that.
All right. Okay. And speaking of the devil, there's Gabe here. Let me ask you this:
ready for the dust storm to come through. Boy,
you've been watching the content. I mean, obviously, how long? If you don't mind me asking something personal, how long have you been actually married yourself?
Yeah, I mean, you're 13, man. You're 13.
You're 13. Okay, and you've been practicing for.
Same amount. I got married as soon as I finished off residency, and that was actually a key point, right? That we'll kind of get into a little bit too. The whole notion of being financially stable before taking on a marriage, and how not only is that intuitively a good thing, but the data bears it out too. That you have a much less chance of being divorced and everything. So that was a must for me. I had to finish, had to get myself stabilized before I took on a wife.
Okay. Now let me ask you this: now the data that you found this stuff out? Let's say somebody wanted to, they want to look at this stuff for themselves.
Absolutely. Yeah. So there's a couple of papers that we'll link to in the show notes. Actually, we can post them in the chat, I guess, right?
Sure.
Yeah. And the thing is, there's actually a lot of robust data out there on marriage, okay, in the realm of social science. And you and I, man, as me as a practicing physician, you going through medical school, you're learning about all these things, these epidemiological and social science type things, like prevalence of obesity and heart rates and cancer rates and that kind of thing. I mean, you could also even approach this from like a public health standpoint, because marriage has implications on that. Married men live longer, for instance, and we'll get into that, right? But if you want me to post the links, I certainly can do that. One of them was written by this lady named Maggie. What's her name here? Maggie Gallagher, and it's called "Why Marriage is Good for You," and it's essentially a top 10 kind of list of what the benefits are to marriage with data to back it up. Now, how do I get to the, I'm sorry, O'Shea, how do I post here?
Yeah. You'd have to go to my.
Actually the stream itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Which I don't have open. So we'll get that up there.
Yeah, we'll get that at some point.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you know, like in this community, a lot of people, I mean, obviously you've been married for 13 years, so your marriage will be successful. And then
thus far.
Gabe, thus far. And then Gabe is more of a much more recent marriage than you. A lot of, you always hear all the time, a lot of marriages in divorce, especially in the Black community. So let me ask you this. Why do you think a lot of Black men, in your opinion, I mean, because you're an avid listener. You don't comment on everything, but you do hear what the guys have to say. What are some of the concerns that you've heard about why a lot of African American men don't want to get married?
Well, I think we can approach it from kind of three different levels there, right? When we talk about marriage, most of the time it's been presented to us early on from our parents, from the spiritual perspective, right? It's a God thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then that next layer down, I guess you could say, is what's the scientific merits about marriage? And that's the focus of this talk. But then ultimately, for a lot of people, just keeping it real, they're going to form their opinion about it based off of their past relationship experiences, and what they see around them, right? And a lot of times, unfortunately, for a lot of different reasons, there's a lot of relationship dysfunction in the Black community, and so I think that definitely taints the perception of marriage as something that's just, it's another financial stress, it's another emotional stress, it's another sort of barrier that we're already up against, in the Black community. And so maybe if I can just sidestep that, I'll be better off. It'll be easier, right?
Mm-hmm.
When when
Mm-hmm.
when in fact the data, ironically, shows really the exact opposite. With the
Okay.
caveat that the stuff that I looked at, it looks at the whole marriage cohort. Now they do sometimes break things out by race and everything, but the statements
Mm-hmm.
I'm making are generally true. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
hmm
All right. Okay. Uh, where do we start with today's talk?
Well, you know me, man. I'm an academic at heart, so
Okay.
we've got some slides. If you can pop that up there, and we'll try to run through these fairly quickly, so we got some time for some Q&A. I know some people
Mhm.
will have some strong opinions about it. Do you have
Oh
that
yeah.
first slide, or do you?
Yeah. Let
Yeah.
me see what I
hmm
got here.
Yeah, joy. Marriage is and always been part of the stability of wealth in every other. Yeah, yeah, and we'll talk about that too, because I follow very much Yvette and Tone and the whole reparations and Black wealth gap kind of thing, and I'm wondering too if a certain amount of an uptick in marriage is actually going to be necessary for us to really close the wealth gap generationally.
Hmm.
That's another big point here. So again, this lady here, she wrote basically this kind of top 10 thing about why marriage is good for you. And I took kind of basically her conclusion there at the bottom. In virtually every way that social scientists can measure it, married people do much better than unmarried or divorced people. They live longer, healthier, sexier, and more affluent lives. Okay. Now, again, we're talking about on a population basis. I know there's lots of people in the chat that can recount their own individual circumstances or somebody that they know, but we're looking at this from like a policymaker standpoint. So a big 30,000 foot view over things. Okay,
Hmm.
so let's go to the next slide, O'Shea.
All right. Let's see what we got
Yeah,
here.
right. So number 10 reason why it's safer. Now that the print is kind of small on here, right? But the bottom line is that she compares people that are in marriages versus cohabitation, which a lot of times I've heard on the manosphere and in other places too. People put that out as well. Why get married? Why not? We can just live together, right? And
Hmm.
essentially replicate all of the benefits of marriage. Well, the data is very, very clear that cohabitation and marriage is not the same. Much, much more domestic violence in cohabitation situations. It's like 3 to 1, in terms of women that bother to report things to the cops. It's 3 to 1 that it's a boyfriend or a cohabitator versus a husband, right? Okay.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
then the bottom list, the last sentence on here, regardless of the methodologies, the studies yielded similar results. Cohabitators engage in more violence than spouses, right? And when you think about, you know, our relationship, black males, the criminal justice system, and all that kind of stuff, you know, so a cohabitating thing is, again, statistically and population wise, you're much more likely to have a run-in with the law even with that compared to a marriage, right? So while not a direct thing with wealth, I mean, you can't get wealth if you're not free, and all this in this sort of thing. So that's one thing, and we can pause and chat about that if you want. But the bottom line is, again, this idea that cohabitating is the same thing, uh, not true. And we can talk about other aspects like sexual satisfaction and money with cohabitation too.
Okay. Okay. No, I don't have any.
Okay.
I don't have any.
And
Anything.
okay.
Okay.
So we can go. What's next here? Okay.
It can save your life. Uh
Now,
oh.
yeah. Now this is one for you and I, man, as practicing physician and budding practicing physician. Um, I can say with great certainty, right? Okay. Let's look at this first. Okay. Number one, there's a longevity gap they talk about, right?
Mhm.
If you're married and you're 48 years old, there's a 9 out of 10 chance that you'll be alive at age 65. If you're single and you're 48, there's only a 6 in 10 chance that you will be alive at age 65. Why
Wow.
is that? Why is that? Why do middle-aged guys as they age, the ones that are married, live a lot more than the ones that don't? Well, I can speak from, now, I'm gonna get a little anecdotal here, but it's so striking, and you're gonna see this, O'Shea, when you get out and practice. The number I deal with cancer, right? So everything I deal with is serious. I can't tell you the number of middle-aged, otherwise high-performing men, construction workers, office people. They have these terrible symptoms. They're coughing up blood, they got pain, they got this and that, and it was their wife that drugged them to the doctor, other than themselves, right? I've seen that
Mhm.
countless times. Okay, women access the health system a heck of a lot more on a preventative nature than men do, right? And if you're married, your wife is more than likely going to make you, not ignore some of this stuff, right? So again,
Mm.
what's the tie into wealth? Well, obviously, if you live longer, you got more of a chance to accumulate more wealth. Okay, so that's a very direct thing there. Okay, yeah, get a wifey to survive. Fly Birdie says. Right. Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go to the next one here.
Maybe are we missing
Yeah.
8?
Yeah. You know what? I didn't grab every one of them because I didn't think, well,
Okay.
honestly, we'd be able to get through all of them. So, and I want
Okay.
to, if people are interested, they can go and
Okay.
grab
Okay.
it.
What's
Yeah.
the main ones?
Yeah. Okay. So you'll make more money. Okay. So this is a direct one, right? So why is that? Well, I mean, just like somebody who is, say, for instance, in the earlier part of their life, if they're able to bank some money and invest it earlier on, that's some of the most valuable time that you can put money away and invest it, right, in the early part of your life, late 20s, early 30s. And I'm talking about early part of your life in your adult life, right? And when people are married and they can get those economies of scale of sharing house expenses, insurance, helping each other out with childcare, freeing the husband or the wife up to work more at work. And then let's not forget too, right? There's very much, if you look at the hiring practices and things of that nature, married people get more opportunities at higher paying and more responsibility jobs than single people. It shouldn't be that way, but it matters. Okay, so that's something to think about. Okay,
Why do you think that is?
well, it's one of those kind of, I think it's one of those kind of unwritten rules where, like, jobs that have a lot of responsibility and you're over a lot of people and therefore pay more. But even coming on down the line, right? I mean, people want to hire, I think, folks that they view as more stable in their personal lives and also more stable even geographically, right? Single folks, they're able to move around more, and things of that nature. So and so I think that comes into play, right? And part of this earning piece. But the biggest piece is really sharing those expenses early on in your adult life, and therefore being able to take some of those savings and bank some of that and save and invest more. So when you look at, I think the next slide has the stat on it about how much you have at retirement. But I think, and it even says here, even controlling for education, job history, everything, the longer a man stays married, the higher the marriage premium he gets. And they talk about the wives too getting a little marriage wage premium, right? It's about
Mhm.
a married white women get about 4% more money than married single women, and married black women get about 10% more money than single black women, right? And again, I think that goes into this kind of bias towards, I think, to hire folks that are married, for better gigs. So
Okay.
yeah,
All right. No.
yeah,
So the next one, which would be,
yeah.
well, where is that one
Oh,
already?
okay. Oh, wait a minute. Did we skip one? Okay, so maybe we didn't. Could you go back one? I'm sorry.
I think when we go back one, it is.
It's the same
I
one.
think 9 is in here twice. Yeah.
Okay, I think okay. Well, there was a stat about how much that winds up being in retirement, and like a married guy at retirement has like 400 some thousand bucks of money, and a single guy at retirement age 65 has like 100 some thousand, right? So
Mhm.
it's not even like a just a 2 to 1 thing. It's kind of consistently like 4 to 1 over time. Now the caveat is you have to stay married, and we're going to talk about the consequences of divorce and how significant that can be. So I don't want to downplay that, but we can't downplay the tremendous financial benefits of being married. Let's not also forget the tax code is incentivized for that. You get a bigger deduction as a married
True.
person.
True.
Let's not forget about the ease with which assets pass on from a husband to a wife, without any probate or the state getting involved. That's a very smooth thing, and then down to kids, right? And see, that's why, and that just ties into this bigger thing about this whole wealth gap thing, right? I mean, I think something that I've involved in is like, if we ever do get like this reparations thing that we're talking about, cash payments and get institutions to lend to us and do all these things to try to really catch black wealth up. I think there'll be a hole in the bottom of the bucket if we don't have a lot more stable families to pass this stuff down through. You know what I mean? It can't be to a predominantly single folks. I think that would be a big hindrance to catching up, in my view. And that's a
Mhm.
new way of
Mhm.
thinking to me. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So, okay, next one. Oh, go back one more. I'm sorry, we didn't cover that one.
Oh,
One
okay.
back,
Let
one back
me
more.
go
Yeah,
to
what's that
5.
5?
Right.
Yeah,
You'll
yeah.
tame. Yeah. Okay.
It'll tame your cheating heart. Okay, so again, this is jumping back to the whole cohabitation thing, right? Um, Cohabitating couples, they cheat on each other a lot more than married couples. Okay, cohabitating men cheat 4 times more likely than married men, and cohabitating women cheat an astonishing 8 times more than married women. Right? Okay, and so um, and let's see, what's the other thing? Oh yeah, and just 1 out of 10 cohabitating couples are still together after 5 years. Whereas even with the divorce rate, right, 80% of married couples the first time are still together 5 years later. So the notion that this sort of kind of permanent cohabitation is an equal thing to marriage, it doesn't bear itself out. And another stat that was in this paper too is there's no unlike with being married and your wealth slowly goes up over time, there's no correlation with if you do manage to cohabitate with somebody for a very long time. There's no correlation with your wealth going up because people oftentimes keep separate bank accounts and that kind of deal. And again, because you're not married, you don't get these other financial benefits that, yes, the state does confer on you. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind, the whole cohabitation thing.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, some pretty good ones here. All right.
Hmm. Okay, and make you happier. Now, admittedly, this is when it comes to study methodology and everything. They have people check these boxes about, how happy you are, very happy, and that kind of thing. But again, if you get enough sample size, thousands of people and everything, trends start to emerge. And the bottom line is, about 40% of married people rate themselves at being very happy, whereas only like 25% of single people say they're very happy. And it's like in the teens for divorced people, right? Say they're very happy. So, divorce is like the worst, right? And
Mhm.
married is the best, and single is somewhere in between. But I think one of the things that oftentimes gets sort of fetishized, in pop culture, right, is like the single person, right? They're the happiest because they have the most freedom and everything. Well, that's pop culture, right? But that doesn't really doesn't bear it out, at least when you do these lengthy surveys on people. Okay, so that's
Mhm.
something to keep in mind, and it also underscores too just how devastating divorce is.
Mhm.
A lot of I think a lot of times people have this notion that if I just get divorced, my level of happiness is going to go up substantially, and that's not the case. And I'll throw a little anecdote in there too. The divorced people that I'm around and talk with and everything. Um, yeah, it's a lot of them lament the fact that they're not married anymore, honestly. And so that's something to keep in mind. Like I said, got Gabe in here, popped up.
he said, most of y'all opposing dudes are broke. So does it have anything to do with you?
Yikes, Gabe! Don't
Oh
don't set
man.
it off up in here.
Yeah, man. Gabe, he might be like one of those educated guys, but he definitely got his Negro juice on. Okay,
Right.
now this is the most
Oh
interesting here.
yeah, I saved this one for last, right? The whole,
Oh
the whole,
man.
the whole sexual satisfaction thing, right? Because that's kind of the headline here, right? Now, I have read this in this similar statistic in numerous other studies. Now, again, you can always take some shots at the methodology or whatever, but again, these are questionnaires and whatnot. But yes, consistently, when you ask adult people who has the most satisfying sex life, it is actually married people, right? It beats out cohabitators. It beats out by a large margin single people, right? Now, I know in the manosphere, we got a lot of smooth characters in there that can get a lot of women and stuff like that. But when you look at this second statistic here, um, was this one about sexlessness? There's something about like maybe 20% of single people lead essentially like sexless lives, right? So there's a big chunk of single people, and they define that by not having a sexual encounter in the past year, right? That are single, right?
Mhm.
So with that backdrop, yeah, I mean, having stability and having sex regularly, that leads to a much higher level of satisfaction. And they specifically also quoted in here too the comparison with men who are married compared to cohabitating people, and that was better as well, right? So again, we know what is sensationalized pop culture wise, and let's also keep it real too about
Mhm.
phases in life when it comes to guys, right? We all been there, man. In our teens and early 20s with the testosterone raging and everything, and a lot of us, having a lot of partners and everything. And I think I could see where certainly there could be some pushback in terms of like, man, I was more satisfied, back during those days, and maybe this is much more of an age kind of thing, but certainly for mature married folks that have been married for a while, they seem to report the highest level of sexual satisfaction. So I know there's going to be some comments on that, and I know you got something to say about that, O'Shea.
No, no,
No.
actually, right
What?
now I don't have anything to say. But I'm looking in because I
Mhm.
don't necessarily uh, mm, I can't say that I disagree
Okay.
on a lot of these things. Um, but let me see this. Until matrimonial law catches up with my side and marriage isn't the place to be ever. Thank you, Brother Vincent. But
Okay.
I do see
Appreciate
that
it.
the people have a lot to say there. So let me shout out to people: Doug, Brother Gabe, Brother Simon Landreth. I'm trying to bring your super chat up here just a minute. He said something. I'll read it just a second. Thank you, brother. He says your stats are valid, assuming that women doesn't screw you over. With that being said, can you describe what a marriageable woman looks like? What are her characteristics?
Well, you know what, O'Shea? This is a great lead in to the next slide, right? And before we get to it, I just want to give a backdrop. We're gonna answer that question to it pretty much, Simon. Here, yeah, it's like so. In medicine, O'Shea, we talk about, what are your risk factors for like heart disease, right? Like if you're overweight, if you smoke, that kind of thing, you're at much higher risk of having a heart attack, right? Well,
Right.
there are some very identifiable factors that honestly, from time to time, some of the people on the manosphere have mentioned about like, hey, when they go to evaluate a woman, be it for marriage or just for a relationship of any sort, instead of just maybe paying attention to like her physical characteristics and that kind of thing, it's like, hey, does she tick these other boxes that maybe I wasn't thinking about before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there are definitely some things when it comes to marriage that predict if you can be actually a heck of a lot lower than that 50% divorce rate. So let's click on that next slide.
All right.
Yep. Okay.
Your chances of divorce may be lower than you think. All
Yeah,
right.
and there we go. Bam. And this is the money slide coming up right here. Next one. There we go. Okay. So this study here looked at, okay, if you take that 50% divorce rate, okay, what are some factors that are associated with significantly lowering that 50% divorce rate? Okay. So these percentages that you see along the right-hand part of the slide, they're minus, right? That's how much you can chop off if you can manage to tick some of these boxes, you and your potential spouse, right? So
Mm-hmm.
number one, the biggest impact, right, is
Mm-hmm.
money. Annual income over $50,000, right? That your chance of being divorced goes from like 50%. You chop off 30% right off the bat, right? That's huge. Okay. Huge money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Versus making under $25,000. Okay. So there's a lot there, right? I mean, the studies are clear. When you have more disposable income, it smooths over a lot of that, daily life stress. You can pay for some leisure time, vacation. You're not arguing as much and everything. And so that's a big thing right there. So kind of a tie-in to my situation, right? I believed in marriage for a long time, but I wasn't getting married until I had my money situation right. You know what I mean? I just wasn't doing it. Okay.
Right.
And so that is one of the things, like if I was counseling, if I had, a little brother, nephew, or just some young man I'm mentoring or something like that, the stats bear it out. You shouldn't be getting hitched until you got your paper right for you. And then with your potential spouse you're bringing into the mix, right? A big thing for me, I was blessed from an income standpoint to be able to handle things, but it was real nice. My wife was a college graduate, but she didn't bring in a lot of debt, say, for instance, right? And that can be a
Right.
big thing. You know what I mean? So, and I've heard gentlemen on the manosphere mention things like that. Like, you know what? She may be pretty, but what's her credit score look like? What kind of job she got? So intuitively, right? You wind up coming to these conclusions sometimes after dating around and having experienced, messing around with, a beautiful woman, but she's just financially kind of reckless. Either she makes a lot of money, but she spends too much. She makes a decent amount of money, but she's got incredible amounts of student loan debt, say, for instance. You know what I mean? So, there you go. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the number two, right? This is kind of interesting. Having a baby 7 months or more after marriage versus before marriage. So this is actually allowing for a little butt in the oven action. You know what I mean? But as long as that baby can come on the other side of being married as opposed to on the front side, that's another big chunk in terms of reducing your divorce percentages. Okay. So that's another one. Okay. Marrying after age 25, another big decrease, 24%. Okay. If your family of origin is intact, okay, did you see a marriage modeled before you? Okay. And again, I've heard people on the manosphere say, look, I'm not messing with a woman that doesn't have a dad in her life, right? That's essentially what you're saying, right? You know what I mean? Even though I've heard other people in manosphere say they prefer women that don't have men in their life, dad in their life, from a vulnerability standpoint. May not, may not be marriage material, but for other things. Okay.
Right.
Religious affiliation versus none. Another, pretty big decrease, although not as big as some of the other stuff. Okay. 14%. Right. And then if you have college, okay, versus high school, that's actually pretty darn big. Okay. It's another 25% drop. Okay. So the conclusion of this study was, if you actually can tick off most of these boxes, then your chance of getting divorced statistically is way less than 50%. And conversely, if you can't tick off a lot of these boxes, your chance of divorce is way higher than 50%, right? And so, to answer Simmons' question here, what a marriageable woman looks like. Well, I would say, what a potential marriageable couple might look like. Okay. That, it would be to tick a lot of these boxes here. Okay. So again, if I was counseling somebody, I got 2 daughters. Okay. So this has been an eye-opening thing for me. I mean, I already, I already had sense enough to tell them, like, I wouldn't have wanted any kind of cohabitation kind of situation going on. But now that I've seen some of the data behind it, I mean, it's like definitely right. And then, I want them to incorporate some of these risk factors when they evaluate a guy. You know what I mean? So, so there it is. So that's pretty much. And I think the last slide just basically sums up what I said there. The next slide is the last one for your talk there.
All right.
Yeah. So if you're reasonably well educated with a decent income and you come from an intact family and are religious and marry after 25 without having a baby first, your chances of divorce are very low indeed. Okay, so a lot of qualifications there, but again, something to strive for, right? Something to strive for. So that's the end of the slides there.
All right, so let me go ahead and remove this. All right, and
what was that? What Gabe said, consistent high earners or something like that. What he said.
Consistent high earners create a level of marital ease. Not perfect, but definitely more ease.
Amen. Amen. I see Jay Dada pump and dump in the building. Hey.
He's crazy.
Well, like I said, not for everybody, but I just wanted to give some, in all seriousness. I mean, I appreciate what the manosphere is. I mean, it's a place where you get together and just talk about this stuff, right? And like you mentioned, you have a cohort, a group of married guys that do follow you consistently, right? So why not put some stuff out for them too, but it's really for anybody though. I would hope that some of the guys maybe in the chat that are committed, bachelors, not going to do the marriage thing, but maybe some of them got daughters, and if y'all open to your daughters getting married, maybe looking at this stuff will help. I don't know.
Yeah, because I mean, I you do have a YouTube channel that is not listed, but I know you and your family, you guys do some like really nice things. Didn't you go to France or somewhere like that, like recently, like last year?
Oh, sure, yeah. We have vacation is a big thing for us, man. So I work hard, so when it's time to go on vacation, we do it, man. We've done Paris, Italy. We've been around for sure. Yeah, it's an unlisted channel, and I just kind of post that up there because I appreciate YouTube hosting all these big video files. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Oh shoot! Shout out to brother Linnell Gant.
Linnell. Shout out to Linnell.
You know him, right? Also.
Oh yeah, I definitely know Linnell. And for folks that it's my first time, again, seeing me again, I have a channel, the InvestDoc, and it focuses very much on finance and investing. But I thought this would be a nice way to tie in with my brother O'Shea here with the relationship tie-in with money situation. So that's why I wanted to do that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna post my links in the chat.
Yeah,
here
let's do that. I guess for those people, so we have, and shout out to you guys. Did a really good show with Andre Hatchett the other day. I was over there listening to that.
Yeah. Shout out to Dre. Love Dre.
So guys, we got a lot of subscribers from his last show. But can we, for those of you who did not describe, he has almost 1,090. I don't know how many the number is per se. But if we can get some guys to go over to InvestDoc's channel, tell them a little bit about what they would expect to see on this channel.
Yeah, so investing is a passion of mine, and so I'm trying to put out content to help people do that better. And I primarily invest in things that produce income, so things like rental property, dividend-paying stocks, things of that nature. So you'll certainly get a nice dose of that. I've been fortunate to get some good early feedback and some user questions and whatnot. So I'm always looking for interaction with people. People have asked me things about, credit and loans and that kind of thing. And I'm not an expert in all of it, but it's mostly investing. So, if you haven't, bought some stock before, you want to learn about rental property, or even some very inexpensive ways to get exposed to real estate that doesn't require a whole lot of money, say for instance, then I'm your man for that. Matter of fact, if you check back on O'Shea's channel, my first session here was showing people how to get involved in real estate with buying some very inexpensive real estate stocks, basically, so that paid dividends. So that's what I'm about. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So now let me just do this for those people that need to subscribe to the InvestDoc channel. It is growing rather rapidly, so I would like to try to double his subscribers we initially had last time. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the link there.
Yeah, and by the way, I should also tell them, there's an ebook that you would get that talks about how I buy rental property. That's my favorite asset class to invest in. So people have said it's been very good, gotten good feedback there. That'll put you on my email list as well. And if you ever have a question for me on any of the channel content, just hit reply to that email. It comes right on my phone, and I do respond. I'm small enough right now I can get back to everybody.
Rich Turner, Team Daggletail, thank you so much. Let me ask you this. Let me kind of go back to the last slide. I mean, the factors.
Yes, sir.
All right. And it's interesting. The people that I know that are married and never had a problem, annual income over $50,000. Most people who get divorced are terribly broke, usually. People who have babies before marriage, yes. Marrying over 25 years old, if people are getting married later. Family of origin intact versus divorced parents.
Mm-hmm. Or single parent, yeah, sure.
You single parent. Religious affiliation, college. All of these check the box. Yeah. I mean, people that I know that are like that are still married. Very rarely do you find people like that. I mean, it can happen. Anything is possible.
Absolutely. Anything can happen. Absolutely.
But typically, that doesn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Correct.
It doesn't,
So the point is, man, there is some social science behind it that can help you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If you're going to take the plunge, right? And it's too important of a decision to just go into it with just your intuition and feelers. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So this dude AM1 said this dude is advocating for marriage, right? Well, I guess what I'm saying, I'm actually advocating for people to have a more educated view on what the pros and cons are that can be demonstrated and measured, right? As opposed to just intuitively concluded. That's what I'm saying. We all got our thoughts about marriage and what it is and what it isn't. Some of us have experience, and some of us have opinions about it that are just framed from our experiences and people around us. And while that's valid to a degree, I just want to put that social science layer on it, so you can kind of see what's going on a population basis.
I just want to let you guys know in the chat, Dr. Kenyon Meadows is very, 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 very intelligent. He went to Case Western Reserve School of Medicine. So he's an academic kind of guy. So we're not talking about how you feel or what you think. You're talking about somebody that's super bright. I'm just in case you guys know. So
I appreciate that.
This is a. I know smart people. I'm just letting you know before you go down that path.
Right.
You might get that work. So I'm just letting you know. Just letting y'all know.
So just T Kelly over here. Appreciate it. She was on my stream the other day. Appreciate that.
Oh yeah, T Kelly. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Trying to get her husband over in Africa.
Yeah.
She gonna be divorced though, because the dude she was talking to, he broke. So he ain't even making 2,500 Naira a month. So yeah, she gonna be broke over there. Don't worry about that.
Hilarious.
Yeah, she'll be back. Yeah. So I don't know. Let me also ask you this though, because do you have colleagues that are in medicine most people that tend to be, I mean, you know, it's most high end people, billionaire people. I very rarely see single doctors, see single CEOs.
Right.
Is that what the more money you make, you're more educated? Are you seeing people that are typically single, or?
Well, actually, you know, in the course of doing some research for this the show that we did here, um, they broke down what's going on with marriage trends in this country in general. And here's what's happening, O'Shea. Marriage is going down slowly in terms of the number of people that are getting married. Okay. The divorce rate is also going down because there's less people doing it, and the people that are doing it, the one thing that's really clear is that they're waiting longer to get married. And so the divorce rate is actually creeping down and getting closer to more like 40% now than 50%.
Okay.
But again, less marriages happening overall, and people are waiting older. But the one group where marriage is actually going up is with the wealthy. And you actually, if you type in wealthy and marriage, you'll see articles titled "Is marriage just for the wealthy now?" or "Marriage becoming an elite institution" kind of deal. You'll see articles like that starting to pop up. So to answer your question, you're right. It's pretty rare that you see high-powered folks, high-income folks that are never married. Now, certainly, some of them get divorced, okay, again at a lower rate, but yeah, not common. The vast majority of my colleagues are married, and folks but plus two, right? Kind of regardless, once you get married, man, you you pretty much start hanging around with married folks anyway. So, because you single bros and get us in trouble. O'Shea, you have me out there. I see those club pictures over in Africa, man. Can't you have me out there?
let me ask you. I have something, but I forgot.
Okay.
I'm getting old.
Okay. I see anything going on in here. Every man that Aunt Jane, every man doesn't want to live the single life forever. If that's what you do, then fine, but don't shame other guys.
Yeah.
It's the opposite of dick police, right? I mean, that's the thing. Like, I've been listening to the Manosphere long enough to know that I don't want to come in here as a marriage evangelist per se. I know where that's going to go. So no, I'm not that. I'm just a fact machine, I guess. And hopefully some facts that people weren't aware of. So I'm at my heart, I'm an educator when it comes down to it, though.
Yeah, let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know that you're in the southern part of the United States.
Correct.
But do you think that with the economy is the way that it is, do you think that marriage is going to become more important, like in the next 10 years? People will start getting married out of necessity?
Out of necessity? What do you mean by that one? Because the economy is getting shaky?
Well, because the cost of living is going up.
Oh, okay.
Do you think that people might start getting married just because it's better?
Well, I think I certainly have seen some. The short answer is I don't think so. Right? People that are economically unstable. I don't think that marriage, with everything that it connotates in terms of supposedly a lifelong commitment and then the big divorce penalty. I don't think people do that. Now, I definitely have seen people articulate getting together and cohabitating to try to almost like this roommate type of situation where it's just about lowering those expenses that way, right? Although again, the data doesn't seem to bear out that that's actually that economically feasible, because these things don't last that long, and people don't really pool their money together like that. So heck, I know married couples that don't do that, and that hasn't ended too well for them. So, and I don't think financial instability is going to lead to more people getting married out of necessity like that. No, actually, I don't.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think that. All right. Let's say any questions for the doc while we have him here.
Yeah.
How many of you guys have subscribed to him? Let's see that. Let me know. Shout your stuff out in the comments.
Okay.
So guys, we have the link there. Uh,
Yeah,
we'll take questions. Put your post your question there, and I'll put it on there on the screen.
absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I'm just searching through the chat here. Ooh, observer Melanin. Who wants to deal with American women? Selfish, they're not, they're not tidy, and they can't cook. American women are time wasters. So just pump and dump and concentrate on yourself and your money. Hey, I'm not gonna I'm gonna say that's for some bros. That's the way they're gonna go.
Right.
Uh, so hip hop death culture don't promote marriage. Hey, amen. Amen. Hip hop culture does not promote. And I mean, let's be honest though, I think pop culture in general really doesn't promote marriage, right? I mean, when you look at most romantic stuff on camera and whatnot, again, we fetishize the single people, attractive. They meet each other and they hook up pretty quickly afterwards and that kind of thing. I mean, I don't think I don't think marriage is promoted in general in pop culture for the most part, but certainly the hip hop culture, definitely not.
Mm-hmm. And let me see what we got here. Don't get married to women that say no benefit. No benefit is
Well,
about a person.
again, we just went through a lot of statistics, bro, that would say that there is some benefit. So that's tough one to swallow there.
Yeah, lot of these guys, like I said, the so let me see this. Let me now. Birth of a cool 82. Dr. Meadows, do you advocate getting married if there are no children involved? Is marriage an institution only for raising children to you?
Well, one of the points that I left off of the slide there, one of the number points, because I didn't have any idea how long this would go, so I didn't take out anything. Man, yeah, the if you really start to consider in the whole marriage decision, you think about your seed and your kids, right? If whether you got them already or you know that you want to have some, then all the statistics, man, everything from self-esteem, accomplishment, child abuse, molestation, all these kind of things, man, that you can measure in kids, everything is better if you have an intact family with that kid versus if not, right? So that's another humongous benefit. Okay. And so the other thing too, um, it's not a kid thing, but it's another just general male thing. Not a lot of men kill themselves. Okay. But when you look at it, it's something like 4-to-1 single slash never married men who kill themselves over married men, right? So again, just like so many measurable ways, man. So, but the short answer on the kid thing, yes, it's a tremendous benefit to have an intact family with kids. Absolutely. But we all know, right? You can get the job done with a motivated single mom, right? My dad passed at age 12, so I had him for a while. But
Mhm.
during those teenage years, it was just mom. Some of my close friends to this day that are solid dudes, they didn't have dad around or whatever. So, I know we bash a lot of single moms, and the single momhood thing is not something I think to be praised per se, but there's a lot of them out there that manage to get the job done too. But that's just not the preferable thing, though. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? It's definitely not.
Was your dad also in the medical field, or
No, no, he actually was not. No, no,
okay?
it's first generation, man, up from the dirt.
In good old Youngstown. Okay.
Yeah. Is there a correlation between single middle-aged men and depression? Well, Gabe, as I just talked about, right? The suicide statistics, right? It's striking how many more out of the men that kill themselves is way more single guys than married guys. So I would think by extension that would be yes. Middle-aged guys that are alone are and that happy statistic we talk about too. We will rate how happy their lives are. So yes, it does correlate.
All right.
Hmm.
And there was another brother that asked if he could have access to the presentation that you did.
Yes. Oh well, okay, the links to these studies, or I can repost them, or
Oh, okay. Yeah.
okay, let me grab. Yeah, I'm gonna grab that right quick and repost that in the chat. And yeah, man. So I appreciate just being able to let me post that real quick here. Bam. Okay. Oops. Let me post it. Let me post one link at a time so it comes out a little cleaner. And I'd encourage folks to go take a read, and see what they think, form their own conclusions, and hopefully, next time, O'Shea, when the relationship comes up and the marriage stuff comes up in other contexts on the manosphere, maybe somebody will will remember some of this stuff and bring up a point. You know what I mean? So now, O'Shea, you confirm bachelor. You thinking? I heard you basically. Well,
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
say
sure.
that
I'm not sure what I heard you say.
I'm not saying I'm a confirmed bachelor, but probably allergic to. I'm probably I would say that just like my daddy and my granddaddy, I'm gonna be faithful to cheating.
Uh-oh.
So
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
so I'm gonna be making some accidents here and there play out, but I'm probably gonna go ahead on and do it.
Okay. Okay. Well,
Once you've been to Brazil, brother,
uh-oh.
it's kind of hard to
Amen. Amen. And
yeah.
let's keep it real. The temptation is real out here. I do not want to. One thing I don't want to put rose-colored glass on the marriage thing. I kind of compare marriage, man, to like a strict diet, right? Like if we saw somebody, who's in great shape, in their 40s and 50s, still got their abs going, still can run a few miles at the drop of a hat, and you ask them about their lifestyle and everything, and they told you how they ate and worked out and everything, we would admire that person and give them props, right, for sticking to it. You got to be strict. It's kind of the same thing with the marriage thing too, man. But the temptation is it's real, and I don't want to make it seem like it's all roses and perfume out here, man. It's
Right,
tough
right.
sometimes, man.
You've
For
been there
sure.
for 13 years, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I think I can, like I said, I'm blessed. I've chose well. If things fall apart, for whatever reason down the road, I could see myself doing it again because it's been good enough, long enough that I would consider doing it again. And I know that's not always everybody's experience, and I respect that. So
Right, right.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This is, I ain't trying to cheat. When can I just watch porno and still keep my wife? Hey, bro, that's a cheaper option than the divorce, baby. That's a cheaper option. That's hilarious.
Man, you guys are crazy.
It is crazy out here.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. But I appreciate you having me on too, again, just to share this too.
Okay. Let me ask you this now. Did we get any boost in the subscriptions?
You know what? Let me go and take a peek here. Let's see. My channel. Bam. Yeah, man. We've at least gotten let's see, went from 1.09 to 1.11. At least got like 20 some subscribers, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, at least that, And I know this is not my typical kind of content, so you will not find this on my channel, folks.
Right.
But I appreciate it anyway. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Let me do this. Let me basically also give a shout out to while we still have everybody here. Oops. Am I still here?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Let me give a shout out to some of you brothers out there that have went on ahead and started supporting the movement. And you know what I'm about to do? I'm about to get my swerve on real quick, Doc. So
okay, do what you got to do, man.
Let me do this. So guys, got a lot of people been asking me for a long time, why don't I do? Wait a minute, I got my stuff messed up, man. What the heck is going on?
Oh, you try? Yeah, you got to choose an individual application.
Yeah.
That whole thing.
Let me do that. Hold on a second. So people always ask me, about. Here we go. So people always ask me, well, I'm gonna start my merch store. You need to start a merch store. You need to stop the show. You need to do stuff like this. So I said, you know what? I really never wanted to get in the merch game. And the reason why I never wanted to get me the merch game, because I wanted to just have something that, like, if you guys were to wear something like this, you would like instantly shell shock people. And that's kind of what I want to do. Whenever I come up with something, I want it to mean something and give a reason why you want to buy a shirt. Because whenever I buy a shirt, I don't want to buy a shirt because it just says, you know, the wall or a timeout. I mean, that's stupid. But this is the reason why you can buy a shirt. So, guys, we do have these for sale. Brothers have already started supporting by getting this. I want to tell you, thank you. I appreciate you. Definitely, if you wear this, you gonna be shell shocked like a mug. People gonna be like, "What the hell is going on?" So, I do have that Teespring link. These are the Black Men Are Perfect T-shirts. I wanted to basically, because brothers are always getting the bad end of the stick. You know what I mean, in the media. So I wanted to kind of come up with this thing. So guys, if you want to check it out, look at that. And we got them in every color. Some of y'all, I don't have pink, so I want you want to get your Cameron on. But thank you in advance for supporting it, guys, and supporting the store. I really thank you, brothers. I don't have it on the front and back yet, but we're just getting started. So you guys want to support it, get there's the Teespring link. You guys can go and get a shirt. I really thank all you brothers who've already bought one already. And it's going to basically be cracking. So I really, really appreciate it. ABL is here.
Yeah, I saw ABL in the house. Yes, sir.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Put your merch and link it to you. See, ABL, I tried to do that and it doesn't work on my thing for whatever reason. So I tried to do that. So shout out to ABL. So maybe for whatever reason it doesn't do that. But guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you, brothers. Doc, anything else you want to say before we get up out of here?
I was just gonna plug, if I could, in the links here. One more link. If you guys want to support me, besides subscribing to the channel, I do have a book up on Amazon, Alternative Financial Medicine, that chronicles all the different things I invest in. Very readable. Just pop the link in there. It's gotten great reviews, so I appreciate that. And next time we come on, we'll be back on the money trail.
All right. And y'all don't want to miss this Negro-thon. I got a double header Negro-thon. I got Obsidian for the first hour, and then we got Taz for the second hour. So you don't want to y'all don't want to miss that, y'all. So I got two separate, we call them the Niggathons, and we're gonna have it cracking. So guys, appreciate you. Shout out to you guys. And oh yeah, one last announcement. You guys remember that show that I used to do? She Hit the Wall, but Still Entitled.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So I do have that tonight. Thank you, brother High Def.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, brother. And Linnell, you got to bring your ass on over here. What up, Miss Sparkles from London? So we're gonna. I know you guys like the Thirst Box and She Hit the Wall. So I'm bringing back the funny shit. So you guys gonna see the funny shit. So me and Dima are working back on bringing that up. I really thank you guys for everything. Make sure you guys get the alternative. Talk about the book real quick, Doc.
Yeah. So basically, it's a chapter. Each chapter is a different asset class that I invest in. So rental property, crowdfunding, lending money to folks for high interest rates on some of these online platforms. So anything that I have delved into, and everything that I do produces cash. Okay, so if you want to learn how to do cash flow investing, that's a book for you. Quick, easy read, good reviews, and people have really given me good feedback on it. So check it out.
All right. And we will definitely be back. Thank you for the brother High Def for buying the shirt. I do see that. I appreciate you guys. We will be doing some more financial collabs and things like that, guys. Linnell will be, brother Gabe will be back on it. Thanks again for coming on, Doc. And I will see you guys next time.
All right. Talk to you.
Peace.